really going on? Why is so many people getting dual citizenship and getting passports in other countries?
Number one, if we're going to be very honest, the days of America being the great country that it once was, those days have passed. I think the most important trade for the next 5 years is understanding what country and what cities are going to thrive internationally to be ahead of the curve. Kind of like how we did with Market Mondays. Like before Market Mondays came out, there was no one black that did a weekly show about investing and trading. And then it made a pathway, right? So when I start seeing quality of life, let's just take Mexico. Food is better, quality of life is better. Contrary, outside of the cartel rural lands, feel safer. You feel more welcomed there. And it's a lot of infrastructure being placed there. I think because of COVID revealed a lot and the economy is not as strong as it should be, I think it would be a mistake over the next 5 years to not look to have another country as a backup plan or a hedge to be able to thrive. You can look at it, LA on a downslide, New York has recovered, Miami is doing well, but cost of living has went up dramatically. Inflation has went up dramatically. And truth be told, like America doesn't, because of lack of infrastructure or the money being deployed or dispersed the right way, America doesn't look as beautiful as some other countries. Like when we went to Italy, Italy looked fake how beautiful it was. Quality of life better, food, the gelato in that little town square, better than all the food I had at STK ever. So I think a lot of people are realizing that there are more opportunities outside of the country than in, and it's best to invest elsewhere.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. Dual citizenship. Dual citizenship. I'm going to go ahead and start with you first, Luis. I know you got a little bit of drop.
It's very important that y'all take a moment and sit down and listen to this. I have been saying this, and I have been having these conversations with my boys behind the scenes for a while. I am someone who does have dual citizenship. You know what I'm saying? Set up bank accounts, trust, everything. You know what I'm saying? You should definitely hedge your bets. Always. You know what I'm saying? Just like how they tell you to diversify, whether it's some crypto, whether it's stocks, whether it's some precious metals, you know what I'm saying? Some real estate, et cetera, et cetera. Do not be someone who is blind and benign and allows life to go by them. You know what I'm saying? I keep telling people, especially black people, shop your vote around like car insurance. Don't be loyal to one single party. If they're going to produce and present the best deal to you that these last people in the last 3 or 4 years have not, then you need to go where you're going to get your best deal. Shop your vote around like your best deal to get the best deal. Shop your money around where you're going to get the best outcome immediately and long term. People really need to start thinking outside the confines of their stoop, their block, their city, their state, and their region. You know what I'm saying? We have been a globalized world now ever since we've been online. Ever since we've been online, we've all been interconnected. I would say we've been interconnected since the invention of the telephone. You know what I'm saying? We are more connected today in more worlds, not only virtually, digitally, in every single aspect. You know what I'm saying? You can still have a lot of the great things that you have here or create here and experience a completely different lifestyle, right? You know what I'm saying? You should opt in to get your kids the best education, the best exposure to certain cultures, understandings, and be within proximity of people who be around people who share those same value systems. You know what I'm saying? Am I telling you to get rid of your American citizenship? Absolutely not. But I am telling you to, shop around. Think about what other options. Travel. When you travel, you gain a different perspective. You see things and you ask questions and you wonder why isn't this back home? Why can't we create this here? Why am I getting this kind of outcome and not here? People don't ask these questions. People don't become curious about just life in general and their living standards and what that quality is like. Once you start eating food that's outside of here, you start to experience life completely different. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself those questions and find people who actually wonder the same things. You know what I'm saying? And start having those types of conversations. Stop worrying about what, people are doing online and celebrities and stuff like that. Start asking questions like, hey man, do you have a trust outside of here? Do you have an international trust? Do you have, dual citizens? Do you have this set up? Have properties outside, right? If you needed to, if we were going to get locked down again and experience what we did, a lot of people will be asked out because they have no mobility. People think about freedom like that's not freedom. That is legit not freedom. You know what I'm saying? And then your accounts is all locked up. You can't go to the bank. Everybody saw the run on the banks, right? During the whole pandemic, right? Imagine that happened times 10. Now what? You have anarchy outside, right? I just think that, especially for us, melanated people, black and brown people, I just think in general, we need to really think outside of the rules of engagement that have been presented to us and start entertaining other options that could yield us more fruit in the future. I yield.
All right, let me go to Keita.
Dual citizenship, I'm definitely a strong supporter of this. I read a book when I was getting my master's a while ago, and I was trying to look it up so I can find it so I can reference it for all of you. But it was like all of the signs that your society is about to collapse. And it was like 7 or 8 different things. And one of the things was like there was going to be a lot of civil unrest. Basically, your currency would become very, very unstable. I mean, we have the most volatile currency, I think, in the world right now. They also said that there would be like extreme famine. We haven't got there yet. However, if you do really do a deep dive into like pesticide use here in America, there's a reason why you can go abroad and eat gluten. You can go abroad and eat pasta. You can eat bread. You can do all of these things. You can eat sugar. You can do all of these things abroad and not have the same physical effects to you because they're not putting the same things in the food. I've done a deep dive into pesticides and really like how bad they are for the human body. That's a story for another time. But I definitely think dual citizenship is something that every American should consider aggressively because there's going to come a time and a place where you're going to have to probably get out of here pretty fast. And, we haven't really been very good as a country when it comes to accepting those from other places when they are in need of, escaping a situation that really isn't good for them. And so dual citizenship will help you expedite your your exit out of here should that situation come to pass. Hopefully it doesn't, but it never hurts. And it's really not that difficult of a process once you really do your research. You just got to find out exactly where you want to be post-apocalypse.
Okay. I know Dale did have a couple of things he said. I do agree, Luis. Definitely use your money effectively. Definitely travel. I agree, but don't be fooled by the tourist lifestyle versus everyday living. You want to respond to that?
Well, thank you for responding to me. I will say this: I have looked at that. I'm not viewing it from the from the Instagram reels and the pretty pictures and spending your whole day by the beach. That's not really what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it from the educational standpoint, the access to mobility. I'm looking at, quality of life, crime rate, I'm also looking at just overall cost of living. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of factors that you need to kind of iron down on paper that are important to you, and do these places check off those things, and which ones are closest to you and your family if you're making this like a collective decision. But yeah, definitely I'm not taken by the touristic lifestyle because I understand that's temporary. But I'm more focused on the day-to-day, the actual lifestyle. And I think that people trying to set themselves up for success should really entertain the idea of potentially having something to call their own elsewhere as well.
All right. He also had this one. So you're telling me to check for dual citizenship for one of the most racist countries in the world? Laughing emoji. Second, where have you been on the U.S. or in the U.S.? If all you know are major cities, your scope and view is skewed.
I have been outside this country, bro. Like I don't know. Like I don't vacation in Miami. That's not really vacation. I've been to Mexico. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been to DR. I've been to Colombia. I've been to, you know what I'm saying, Costa Rica, right? Like I've been around, and sort of when I travel, I don't really stay on the resort. I actually walk amongst the people and actually do other close activities and actually ask people questions about, you know, just the living conditions and like the crime and stuff like that. And then also do your own independent research. And then once you start figuring out which really resonates with you. Now, I'm not going to dismiss your claim that there are places, you know, that are not as welcoming to, you know, Black people. But I find it rather interesting and rather hypocritical that when people travel, they always talk about going to the most whitest of white European countries rather than saying that they're going somewhere in South or Central America, the Caribbean, or even Africa for that instance. It's always Paris, it's always the UK. It's always, you know, Denmark, right? It's never really somewhere where you see people who are more of likeness to you. Not saying that you can't go to any of those countries, but I just find it interesting that you will spend your hard-earned dollars complaining about racism, but yet you will go to the most, you know, least diverse and least inclusive countries that don't even adhere to anything that you're saying. So make sure you put your money where your mouth is. I yield.
All right. So I'm not going to go around and get everybody's input because I know this is good information for some, and some people may have some experience on it. So if you want to speak, then go ahead. Ruth, I know you had your finger up, and also Shan, and then Lady Mogalet.
I just want to address that. When you were saying, I agree with dual citizenship. It's important. Like, for example, like there's an emergency. You don't have to live there if you don't want to live there. He's just saying, like, there's an emergency, like the dollar is going down, America's not what it used to be. We about to go through all the CBDC stuff. Like, it's about to get crazy long term. So things are not the same. People want you to enjoy renting, own nothing, and be happy. That's their motto. That's what the elite's motto is for greater society. So basically, if you want options, if you want to decide your own fate, then go ahead and explore it. You know, he's not the only Luis is not the only person saying it. Other people were saying that the guys on the video are saying it, and rich people are talking about this, and they have that's when you talk about everybody talking about their bunkers, they also have dual citizenship. There's whole channels dedicated to this topic. So when we sometimes we so skeptical that we miss it, and then we're late to the party and we wonder why we left behind. So just look into it, consider it. I understand we want to build our community, but in an emergency situation, that would be ideal. Still build the community, still stay together. Maybe we should pick countries that we should go to that we're going to stay as a group, but like there are options that are in between rather than staying on the extreme one way or another. But yeah, it's definitely important to look at what's going on in our economy and what people have planned for us. Real estate is changing. Owning credit cards is changing. Everything, our lifestyle on in general, being in America in general has changed completely. It's going to change. And as you see those changes, make sure you keep an open mind to things like this.
All right, I'm going to go to Shan, but before I do, AP wanted to clarify. I appreciate your contributions there, AP. The cost of living is dope in Costa Rica and Mexico with the current American dollar. My comment was in reference to the video. Now, Luis. All right, go ahead, Ms. Shan Monet.
You know, I agree. If you can find a country that you've done true research on every little thing, you know, I think you should go that route. You need to understand the culture, understand the people, and not everybody has the American way of doing things. It was so funny because I just saw, and you gotta remember too, just because people have a lot of Black people doesn't mean it's not racism. I just saw that Passport bro Austin talking about Brazil, how much racism believe it or not, is in Brazil. And so you want to make sure, because one or two of y'all going to a country may not be bad, but if all y'all go, you'll be amazed. They be like, too many of y'all coming. Wait a minute. So we got to keep in mind when we're doing this, I don't knock it. I think that it's a great idea. But when we're doing this as African-American people. And we have to take that into consideration, how people view us. Even though we know we're nothing like that, people view us a little different in different countries. And also think about healthcare. I mean, I'm really big on healthcare, and I know the pandemic happened, and that was a big thing for me. But think about, I think about Ebola. Remember how it was doing it was so bad overseas, but then when it came here, all of a sudden, people surviving that shit. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take those things in consideration. Pandemics. How well does that country handle pandemics? Because it may not be COVID. It could be something totally different. And so I just say, healthcare, how people treat you, how people treat African-American people. Are you willing to learn the culture, the people, the language? All those things take in consideration when you move to another country. So.
All right, I'm gonna go to Lady Mogulette, but AP says $10. Thank you again, sir. I've traveled quite a bit. Mexico and Canada is dope. Brazil is dope. I'd be damned if I live or move there. I want to spend some time in Africa, though. Please do your research before you go. Go ahead, Miss Lady Mogulette.
No, I was just pretty much saying that I second everything that Luis and Nikita said. I've been a dual citizen for pretty much my entire life. Time to renew mine now and actually get my daughter hers. And it probably makes sense to do it now before election day, because I know when I tried to renew it during the Trump regime, he wasn't allowing you to have two citizenships. So that's something to consider. I'm a first generation Jamaica. I pretty much spent most of my childhood in Jamaica. We have our land there. Like, my family is there. So like, it just makes sense for me. That's where my mom is. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it does make sense. And even though it's great for all the reasons listed, it does have its qualms, because there are other things like, the land wars and the other things that people don't consider when they go to these other places.
Asians.
Say again?
Asians.
The Asians, taking over the country, and you becoming a citizen and then not being able to enjoy the beach and things that you think you're going to be able to enjoy just because you're now in Jamaica, like you're going to be treated like a local. You know what I mean? So there are lots of things there to consider. Just seeing what, like someone said, the day-to-day issues are, and how the country treats you, and like. In Jamaica, you have things to deal with as far as like the government and making sure that you know the right people in the right places. Thankfully, I've also worked with the Board of Entertainment and Tourism with that country for over a decade. Like, I've done work with them. So, my family, thankfully, we're in decent standing out there. My family is pretty good out there, but like, you definitely have to know where you're going, do your research. Can't stress that anymore. And otherwise, though, definitely consider getting dual citizenship.
For the people that has dual citizenship, what is the process like? If somebody wanted to look into it, where would they go? How would they start?
90 Day Fiance. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah. So for me personally, it's a little bit different, because I'm in a unique kind of situation. Like, obviously, my parents were both born and raised outside the U.S. in the Caribbean, and sort of, and then years later, they became a U.S. citizen here, and sort of because of through the process of naturalization, like, I was able to get dual citizen that way. There are countries who are offering like golden visas. I know Portugal was doing that for a while. I know a lot of people who took advantage of that. I know it's currently over, and I know there's a few other countries that do, and they do have incentives. Like, if you buy like property or you invest X amount of dollars, they offer all these different incentives and they give you citizenship. Some offer residency, permanent residency, right? So let's not only limit it to just citizenship, but also look at the permanent residency options as well.
Okay. Go ahead, Sweeney.
Who are we talking to? That's my question. Because I would argue a person who can afford to travel abroad like that don't have very many financial problems in America. Like, you live some of arguably the best lives right here in this country, and then you say, oh, we need to go live abroad because of all the issues that's going on in this country. And I'm like, are you, because the people I know who are actually living those particular situations ain't got no damn money to be going and living in Ghana or the Portugal, or they got to eat it here. And then I hear people who are affluent telling the world that, hey, I got citizenship over and over here, and I got this going on over there, and I've been to this country, that country. Most people don't even leave their state. Who are we talking to?
The people that always going on vacation and Instagram. How about you spend that money to go get your passport? They got money, Sweeney.
No, they don't. They're using credit cards.
Well,
They
use
going
the
in
same
the
credit
debt.
card to secure your future.
And nobody would recommend somebody use a credit card as an investment tool.
But they doing it anyway. My point is, everything is not going to be the same today. You saw how quick everything changed in the pandemic. We were not prepared. So
The world changed in the pandemic. It ain't just happening in America.
America going to be great forever. Saying that now, and one day when
They just
it's
let her
not,
talk
it's going to be
before
too
the internet
late.
go out. Just let her talk, Sweeney. Let her talk.
Do not try to double team me.
I'm just saying that the pandemic happened to the world. It didn't just happen to America. And I would argue that people probably still rather have been in America than been in other parts of the world at that period of time. Like,
I agree and I disagree as well, because there were certain places, Sweeney, that never closed down, and there were certain places that never experienced what we experienced because they had built-in protocols that were much more stringent and robust than we had here.
Yeah.
Let's be very honest. Although you say that Atlanta never shut down, Houston never shut down. There were a lot of
places in America. Those are all places in America. Dallas opened up about as fast as any state city did. That was all still places here.
I understand
but
that.
The point is that what I'm saying is that the crisis was global. And even with your argument to say, oh, there were other places around the world that stayed open and that were stable, you can make that same argument about places right here in America. A lot of major cities stayed open. Like, we're making this, we're talking to a group of people as if they don't have to eat what they like. We have to be here. And instead of us talking about,
we don't have to be.
You don't.
That's the thing.
You really don't.
Hold on, wait. But you're telling. But you're telling people. But you're telling people whose ancestors died for this country, whose ancestors done been here for 500-600 years, that hey, all you have to do is pick up and go somewhere else. Because, like, my people are from Mississippi. My people are from Tennessee. Hank, I guarantee you, he got people that done been in Kentucky his whole life. And most of us ain't never left the state, let alone you're talking to a group of, and then the first thing you did was shame them and say, well, those people that if you can afford to go on a vacation, most people ain't going on vacations like that.
I'm talking to the ones that can. So Sweeney, question. So because of their current situation, you tell those same people never buy a house. Look at who we talking to. People save their money. They use their income tax check. They buy a house. They make it happen. They don't have to have it today. We're not saying that, but we're saying that it's possible. You can't say it's not even possible. It's out of the possibility.
They're not buying houses. They're not buying houses. They rent. Thank God. I'm glad they rent because they rent my places out. But yeah, they're not buying houses. Yeah, they are, but they're just not free. Look, let me go ahead and speak because I know your internet about to go down. Shout out to your internet. And I want to make a formal P. Diddy a type apology. I apologize for those who do have bad internet and that can't hang with us. Shout out to you guys. Look, I want to know where y'all people live at. Ruth, where do you live at in this beautiful country that we? Okay, Shan, where do you live at, man?
Atlanta.
Okay, yeah, Miss, what's that? Micah, Makita. I'm
Makita.
sorry,
Makita.
Makita. Where do you live at, man?
I live in Houston now, but I'm from California.
Shout out to you. Okay, so y'all are not making moves to get the hell out of this country. Y'all are
How do you
not
know
doing
that?
anything right. Well, ma'am, right now,
How do you know that?
you in Houston. Are you in Houston currently as we speaking?
Currently, yes.
Okay, there you are. So you're not. What moves are y'all making? I mean, y'all need to stop this shit. Y'all act like a. Look, I know we're bad over here, but we're not as bad as people want to give it. And some of these people who can't live by the laws of the land don't need to go to other countries. We see what happened to Brittany Griner. She went over to another country smoking. You got to know the laws of the land, and some of you motherfuckers don't want to abide by the laws of the land here. And they give y'all all type of forgiveness here. They give you mercy here. They give you forgiveness here. You go to another country, you still a foreigner. Please believe, even you got double citizenship, you still a foreigner. Them citizens will look at you as a foreigner. You on the outside looking in. You're not a resident. You wasn't born and raised here. You a foreigner. And they're going to treat you as such. So, yes, you're going to have some of the luxuries. You're going to have some of the perks. I understand. But guess what you're going to do? You're going to make the most money you're going to ever be made here in the same country that you can't stand or hate. But guess what you need to do? Take the time out on the first Tuesday of November and vote for the people who you want to make changes. How about you do that? How about on the time when you need to vote for your aldermen, your mayors, your governors, your senators, your state representative? How about you go vote for that? No, but y'all won't keep complaining, ready to run out the goddamn country. But some of these motherfuckers foreigners, y'all leave the country, they ready to run in the same country. They ready to take your jobs. They ready to take your house if you give it up to them. The same place you run from, they coming to. Why? Because they realize the opportunity over here. But I guess we don't. Look, if y'all really want to move to somewhere safe, assuming that's where y'all doing it, y'all move on somewhere safe. Why don't y'all go to Utah or Montana? Now, y'all don't want to do that because ain't no entertainment out in that motherfucker. Ain't nothing for you motherfuckers to do. Ain't no clubs. It ain't happening. Ain't no beaches out there. So y'all don't want to move out there where it's nice, safe, and cool. Plenty of land, grow your own food, raise your own animals. Y'all ain't trying to do none of that shit. Y'all just trying to live the easy life.
There's a guy that lives in Montana right now who catches rainwater. He got a whole goddamn rainwater tank.
If the electric go out here, we're gonna be the
All right,
same
y'all.
thing.
Hold on, y'all. Let Keita respond. Go ahead.
All right. So Hink and Sweeney, I have two questions. Do you have a passport and have you traveled abroad?
Yes and no.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Yes and yes.
Yes, I have a passport. No, I have not traveled abroad.
Yes, I have.
You want to know why?
It's a.
I mean, can't afford it. The only, I'm gonna be real with you. The only reason why I got my passport because me and my wife was gonna get married in Jamaica. That was the only reason why we got our passport, and COVID happened. Outside of that, we do more travel. We seen more parts of this country. Do y'all? When we went to the Hoover Dam, and I've talked to people all the time. Have you ever been to the Hoover Dam? Hell no, I ain't never been there, man. When I went to the Hoover Dam, you want to know who I saw there? Everybody that ain't from here. There wasn't no Americans at the Hoover Dam checking out what makes their country work, looking at the insides of the dam and saying, "Oh shit, this shit's cool." What? Nobody. Everybody was from outside the country.
I'm just like you, Sweeney. I visit all over the United States too, and I agree with Hank. But I'm saying I'm open-minded to it. You ain't got to do it tomorrow, but just think about it.
I'm gonna sit right here where I can get a bucket of chicken for $3.95.
We too broke to think. We can't think.
I'm gonna sit right here where I can get a bucket of chicken for $3.95.
Come on.
Well, for that same $3.95, you can get a field of chicken to grow you.
But I gotta try. I gotta pay $700 to get there.
But you don't. You really don't. You don't.
Can I say one more thing?
Really, you missing out on the best chicken
You know what
in your life.
You know what I could do? I can walk right to the 7-Eleven that's 3.5 blocks away from me and get any bag of chips or any type of food I want. There's grocery stores all over the place. I got Walmart down the street. I got Kroger right there.
What I'm trying to tell you. What I want to